What do you need to know about Texas? I mean, I'm going to give it to you straight in about 3 or 4 minutes. Biggest questions. What's the strongest position group? Who's going to break out here? What's the schedule say? This is a little preview magazine page on Texas. First question. Who's right about Quinn Ewers? You got Camp A out there, says overrated, recruiting bust. Yeah, he's good, but he's never going to be great. And then you got the other camp that says, just wait till this year. Got all the tools, was banged up last year. Even when he played, he wasn't 100%. So wait until this year. He was 58% last year. Wait until this year. I'm happy to wait until this year. I think he's going to be a standout quarterback this year. And he cut his hair. I mean, look, when in doubt, when guys cut their hair, that means they're serious. That means they mean business. And we don't even have an updated picture of him yet. That's how fresh that cut is. You know, Quinn Ewers is not outspoken. I think I would love for us to go out to Austin and sit down with him for about 10, 15 minutes. Long enough for you to see his persona is so warped compared to who he is. He is shy, down to earth, not necessarily the guy that's portrayed, which has nothing to do with how he throws a football, obviously, but I think he's going to be a standout player this year. Now, will it be enough for them to win the Big 12, make the playoff, etc.? Well, that's what this question is about. That's why it's a question. That's number one. Number two, is their pass defense going to improve? And if it does, by how much? Because last year, one of the most shocking stats in all of college football was Texas had a top what, Jesse? They had a top 30 defense last year. Good catch, by the way, because I was about to get drug in the comments. Texas had a top 30 defense last year in terms of points per game. You don't think about that. You don't think of Texas as having a good defense. Well, it got drugged down because they had the 91st ranked pass defense last year. What could they be if we just cut that in half? We improved 20, 30%. Well, the answer is, again, they could be a conference champ. They could be a playoff team. Question number 3 with Texas is, how should I ask this? Was it always going to be 2023? When Sark came in year 1, we saw what happened. And then they go to year 2, and they had several games improvement, but since they were the preseason favorite to win the conference and they didn't, people still said, oh, he's underachieving. Well, there is this world where it was just always going to take till the third year for them to click. It's happened before, kind of happening at Florida State. Maybe it was just always going to be 2023. And maybe this year is the year where all of your stats that are more historical in nature are rendered moot. Because the age-old adage on this show actually is what comes to fruition, and that is just because something has not happened does not mean it cannot happen. I cannot believe the stat I gave you earlier in the show, that 6 different teams have won the Big 12 since the last time Texas won it. That is inexcusable underachievement from one of the premier brands in the country. The best position group on this team, you could say quarterback, but that's easy. So we're going to say wide receiver. Xavier Worthy is my dark horse to be a Heisman Trophy contender this year. So that's how highly I think of him. We're going to fix the drops, he and I, and we are going to do big things in Austin this year. But if it's not him, they got A.D. Mitchell, number 1 wide receiver in the portal. It doesn't matter which national championship run you've watched for Georgia. He's been a central figure in it both years. Jordan Whittington's still there, celebrating his 35th birthday later this year, it feels like. Isaiah Nair, who came in from Wyoming and got hurt last year. Jesse had to fist fight me today because I wanted to make Nair the breakout player, but Jonte Cook is just there, 5-star receiver. So they're loaded in that receiver room. I still got an eye on Nair, but there's so many different weapons in that room that can hurt you. So they should be very explosive this year. The breakout player, we're not going with Nair. We're going with Kelvin Banks. When I was out there for the Bama game last year, which was week 2, Kelvin Banks was a true freshman. So he started at left tackle as a true freshman for him last year. I was talking to some of their staffers about their incoming freshman class, and they said, some of the guys we recruited, we think they're going to end up being studs, but they're true freshmen, got to give them time. Other guys, we don't know. We feel good about our evaluation, but they haven't exactly broken out in camp. Then they told me about Kelvin Banks. They said it took about 20 seconds. It's the old 20-second rule. The ones that are true next level future first rounders, it doesn't matter if they're 18 years old. When they walk on campus, when they walk in the position group, when they step on the practice field, they're instantly one of the best players on your team. Kelvin Banks, as a true freshman, offensive tackle no less, was the best lineman they had the moment he stepped on campus out of high school. And he's still the best one they have. The difference is because this year is his second year, I think he'll be a breakout player nationally. He was second team all Big 12 as a true freshman. He's got 2 more years of college football to play, so enjoy him out there. The schedule is very interesting for Texas. They play Bama at Bama in week 2. Who do they have in week 1, Josh? Food. But they play Bama in week 2. And then it gets a little dicey. I've got friends in the SEC, all 4 corners of it, who would lead you to believe the Big 12 is soft. Believe whatever you want to believe. I'm telling you, I respect the competition in that conference. And Texas, outside of playing Bama, they go in conference, and they're the favorite to win. They play number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6. As opposed to Oklahoma, who draws 6 of the bottom 7 teams in terms of odds. What does that mean? Maybe something, maybe nothing, but it does put an emphasis, even more so than just usual, on that Red River game, doesn't it? I don't have to tell them. They don't need the added motivation. I'm saying if you're getting yourself to the betting window and purchasing a ticket on one of these teams, that schedule is something to keep in mind. The last 4 games, they go Kansas State, at TCU, at Iowa State, go Clones, and Texas Tech at home. You can tell me all you want about how that's a soft end to the season. It's not. It is not. Back-to-back roadies in November, never easy. Going to Ames, Iowa, the 3rd week of November, not ideal. And then you got Texas Tech to end the season, not ideal. So if Texas gets there, and they should be favored, I believe, they're going to have to earn it. It will not be handed to them. You will not look at Texas if they're in the playoff and say, yeah, soft schedule though, just load it up on cream puffs. Nope, not going to happen. That's a look at Texas.